recording. So hi, everybody. Yeah, like Scott mentioned, my name is Robyn Tasaka, and I'm from the No'eau Center, which is our learning center at UH West Oahu. So today we're going to be talking about avoiding plagiarism. And so what we're going to talk about is, first of all, what is plagiarism? Why should I avoid it? How do I avoid it? And then what can I do if I'm still unsure? So first of all, for what is plagiarism, we're going to try out our Kahoot here. Okay, so this is our Kahoot. So if you have a phone that you can go to kahoot.it and enter the game pin, or if you can do a separate browser window, again, going to kahoot.it, enter the game pin. I don't know if some of you have the app. I don't have the app. So unfortunately, I can't tell you information about that. But I'll give you folks a few minutes to hop into that. And if you have any trouble getting in, let me know. Feel free to unmute or chat me either way. Hey, yay, I see folks joining us. Hey, I think it looks like most folks are in here. Oh no, it looks like we lost someone. Let's go ahead and try it out. And if you weren't able to join, you can still play along without the tech. Okay, I think you can still join when we're playing as well. Okay, so our first question, the words, ideas, arguments, or organization of a work are protected. And you have your answer choices here. Okay, very good. Most of us got the correct answer, which is the words, ideas, arguments, or organization of a work are protected and should be cited. Very good. Let's go to our next question. Okay, and Scott is in the lead. And coming up close second is Leilani. Okay, second question. When is it necessary to cite a source? Okay, very good. Yes, green is a good example. Sorry, green is a good answer. All of the above. Yellow also true, but these are all examples of when we should be citing sources, right? When your ideas are building on someone else's, when you're paraphrasing someone else's ideas, and then also if you're unsure, just to be on the safe side, it doesn't hurt to cite when it's not needed. And we have Clarice in the lead. Okay, question number 3. Paraphrasing means? Yep, so our correct answer is the blue one, which most folks got, summarizing the text in your own words and citing it. So we'll talk a little bit more about how much the language should be changing up when you're paraphrasing. And then our green one, right? So this is another good practice, right? Using quotation marks, putting your citation, another great way to be using information from sources. but not what we mean when we're talking about paraphrasing, right? We would call that quoting. Okay, let's see who is in the lead. AM is in the lead. And let's go to our next question, question number 4. So this one, you want to choose all the correct options. You can select multiple answers. So is using old ideas from a previous paper without citing it in another paper plagiarism? Okay, so we got, yes, the red one and the yellow one are both correct. Okay. So to look at the blue one, right? So a good way to do it is just to be clear with your instructors, right? I worked on this for a paper I wrote last semester. Is it okay if I reuse it? Or I'd like to do, I'm seeing some good connections between this class and another class I'm taking. Would I be able to do one project for both? You just want to be clear with your instructors and ask permission, and make sure everybody's on the same page. Okay, and AM still in the lead, holding on to that lead, but Karen catching up. Okay, question number 5. Is it necessary to cite information that is common knowledge or widely accessible? Okay. Okay, so yep, so the red one is our correct answer here. So common knowledge does not need to be cited. And we'll talk a little bit more about that because it can be a little bit tricky. I would say blue is also a pretty good answer. Green, very funny, but not quite our answer. Yellow also perhaps true, but not the answer that we're looking for here. Okay. Okay, and Scott is back in the lead with Alyssa coming up second. Okay, number 6. Which of the following are realistic consequences of plagiarism? Okay, so all can happen. Realistic, I guess we could argue about what is realistic or not. Red also a good option. Okay, Alyssa C in the lead. Question 7. My paper has quotes all throughout the paper, almost sentence for sentence. So what do we think about this one? Okay, very good. And we'll talk more about this one as well as what might be some better options. Okay, Rena's in the lead now. And question 8, what does an in-text citation most often include? Okay, this is a super tricky one. Okay, very good. I was going to say, it depends what citation format you're using. But again, putting good effort in, showing the effort in attempting to cite, I think that's always a good way to go. Okay, and Rena up at the top. And number 9, if I change a few words of a source text and then use that in my paper, I am not plagiarizing. Okay, we want to do a little bit more than that. So again, we'll talk about that in a second. And we have Rena in the lead, Alyssa C coming in second, and our last question of our Kahoot. I translated some sources into English without citation. Is that okay? Very good. Yeah, I think probably kind of like a lesser known. I don't know how many of us do this very often, but if you do find yourself in that situation, important to know that that will count as plagiarism as well. Okay, so our podium in third place, we have AM. In second place, we have Alyssa C. And in first place, we have Rena. Okay, thanks everybody. Okay, now let's get into our slides and talking about some of these areas. So let's look at some definitions, right? So what is plagiarism? We have A, stealing, theft, B, changing a few words of a paragraph someone else wrote, C, borrowing an original idea and presenting it as a new idea, D, using material without crediting the sources, E, citing a source incorrectly, and F, translating others' written work into another language without citation. So what do you guys think? Whether you want to unmute, throw it in the chat. What do we think the answer to this one is? Okay, very good. Thanks, Karen. So yeah, these can all count as plagiarism. And a lot of times these things might be done accidentally, right? So we want to talk about make sure everybody's on the same page with understanding what can count as plagiarism so that we can avoid it. I do want to talk about E a little bit. I think E is kind of in that gray area. I think if you put in that effort to show that you're trying to, this is coming from a source, even if you don't have the formatting exact, right? At least you're putting that good effort. So that's a good start to showing that you're kind of in the right place. But we do want to work on getting those specific citation practices down as well. So I wanted to talk a little bit of some forms of plagiarism that folks might not always know about. And so one is not using proper quotation marks. So I think this can happen a lot when we're like doing last minute, right? We're kind of rushing, we're not able to like proofread carefully. But we want to make sure we have our quotation marks in the right place to indicate when we are using someone else's words, right? So having that quotation mark at the beginning and at the end to be really clear about where it's your own words and where that's somebody else's words. Synonyms is another area. I think when we're first taught about writing with sources, like in high school or earlier, I think our teachers are trying to do everything at one time, right? Research involves so many things. And so I think many of us are taught in high school or in other areas that plugging in synonyms is a good way to avoid plagiarism. But in our college classes, we want to get past that, right? We want to work on our paraphrasing to be able to truly put the information into our own words more thoroughly. And in addition, right, if you're using someone else's ideas, even if that's your own words, you want to make sure to give credit and make sure that that's clear that this idea is coming from this source, even if you're putting it into your own words. Another area that can get into trouble that maybe people are not always familiar with is outside source overload. So if 90% of your paper is coming from outside sources, right, even if you're citing, that's not a good practice. When you're in college, your instructors don't want to see you just like regurgitating information, repeating what you've heard, retelling it. We want to see you folks putting in your own ideas, bringing the sources together to support, again, your ideas and, having your own information in there as well, your own thoughts as well. So kind of a good, there's a lot of variation depending on what type of assignment it is, what class it's in, what discipline it's in. But as a good rule of thumb, kind of having, your ideas for 75% and 25% from your outside sources. Okay, so let's look at some examples. So this is where I'm going to have folks read So here on the left under original, right, this is what we're finding in a book. And then on the right in the paper, this is what the writer is including in their paper. So let's see, can I have, Hilda, would you read the original for us?
Okay. The result of the study indicated that women perceive more barriers to their career advancement than men. Line 2009.
Okay, thank you. And then Karen, could you read the in-paper version?
The findings of this study state that females view more barriers to their job promotions than males. Lane 2009.
Okay, thank you. So what do you folks think? Is this plagiarism or no? Okay, someone sent me a direct message saying yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, where's my, okay, yes, right? So even though they've changed the words a little bit, right, we still have a lot of the same wording in the original, right? And they've kind of like plugged in synonyms, right? So instead of results, they're saying findings. Instead of indicated, they're saying state. So we would want to change up the wording further than this, okay? And we'll look at some examples and try it out ourselves. Okay, let's look at this next example. So AM, I think, can you read our original here?
Whale indicates that the results of this study shows that women perceive more barriers to their career advancement than men. Likewise, religiously orthodox individuals are more likely to strongly agree that they rarely put themselves in a position in which they might lose something important to them.
Okay, thank you. And Alyssa, can I have you read the in-paper version?
Well, 2011 writes that the results of this study show that women perceive more barriers to their career advancement than men. In fact, Orthodox individuals are more likely to strongly agree that they rarely put themselves in a position in which they might lose something important to them. Well, 2011.
Okay, thank you. So what do you guys think? What do you guys think of this one? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Okay, yeah, this is a tricky one, right? So, so this person has done a good job of telling us the source of their information and using quotation marks to tell us where they're using the information or the words from the source, right? And it's a little bit challenging in this one because we don't see the whole paper, right? We're just seeing these two sentences, so we don't know what the rest of the paper looks like. But this one is, you know, this is a lot of quotes, right? It would be better for sure to be putting in more of the writer's own words, more of the writer's own thoughts, or maybe paraphrasing instead of using so much direct quotes. Okay. Okay, now this one is formatted a little bit differently. In this one, we have our book source at the top and then our in-paper version on the bottom. Can I have Tiana read the blue one at the top and Clarice read the white one on the bottom?
The ways in which domesticated animals have diverged from their wild ancestors include the following. Many species changed in size. Cows, pigs, and sheep became smaller under domestication, while guinea pigs became larger. Do you want me to read the source?
No, that's fine. Yeah, thank you.
I'll read the white one, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Is this plagiarism? Diamond 2008 claims that domestication of wild animals can account for the change in size.
Okay, what do you folks think of this one? Plagiarism, not plagiarism? Okay, you guys are all shy. You're direct messaging me, which is fine. I get it. I get it. Okay, thank you. Yeah, this one's great, right? So we have the author's name and the year, and then the writer here has, has summarized or paraphrased. They've really put it into their own words. They're capturing the same idea that Jared Diamond communicated, but they're putting it in their own words. Okay, awesome. So we're gonna practice that in a second, but let's talk about common knowledge a little bit first. So with common knowledge, right, these are things that don't need to be cited. And that's because they're facts that most people know, such as that the sky is blue or that the grass is green. Common knowledge also includes names of famous people and events in history. For example, that George Washington was the first president of the United States, or that July 4th is a celebration when the first colonies claimed their independence from Britain. Common knowledge can also be specific to a certain field. So, for example, in psychology, right? If you're talking about schizophrenia, right? A commonly known psychological disorder, talking about the symptoms of it, maybe common knowledge within that field. And so if you're writing within psychology, might not need to be cited. So common knowledge can be tricky. So let's look at some examples. So first of all, okay, so which of these is common knowledge? So let's see, Robyn, can you read the first one, the Big Bang Theory, for us?
The Big Bang Theory posits that the universe began with an enormous explosion.
Okay, so do we think this is common knowledge, yes or no? Okay, very good. Yes, common knowledge. Okay, Jamie, can you read us the second one? Going across.
The Chinese fishing industry produces 800,000 tons of fish annually.
Okay, do we think this is common knowledge, yes or no? No, right? Yeah, that is so specific. So when you have, and I think having that specific number is often a good sign, right? That it's not common knowledge. Like most folks don't have specific numbers memorized. Okay. Okay, next, Hilda, can you read us the next one?
Humans normally have 23 pairs of chromosomes.
Okay, so what do we think? Is this common knowledge, yes or no?
No.
This is a tricky one.
I
I just told you numbers, specific numbers, right?
Yeah.
But I think we would call this common knowledge. I think I don't have this memorized. I'm not a science major. Maybe we could say in biology or something, it's considered common knowledge. I think the other good, maybe another good measure, right, is like we could easily find like many sources that would agree with this, like encyclopedias and stuff like that. So that might be another good way to measure common knowledge. Depends on the field. Yes, I like that answer. Okay, next one. Karen, can you read our first one on the bottom?
24% of children live under the age of 18 live in households headed by single mothers.
Okay, what do you guys think? Common knowledge?
No.
Again, right? Super specific. Yes, nobody has this memorized. Maybe someone that studies this. I don't know. Okay, next one. AM, can you read the next one?
The Celsius scale measures temperature from 0 to 100.
Okay, common knowledge?
Yes.
Yes, I know. Again, something I'm not good at because I'm not a science major, but yes. Okay, last one. Alyssa.
chicken katsu can be found in many Korean barbecue restaurants in Hawaii?
Okay, common knowledge, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, this is also weird, right? Because and so this one's depending on audience, right? In Hawaii, yes, we know. I mean, we know this is true, right? But if you're writing for an outside source, maybe someone audience from the continent, or anyone not from Hawaii, this would not be common knowledge. And so you would want to cite a source. Okay, super fun. I love talking about what concepts knowledge. Okay, so why should I avoid? Okay, we're hopping into our section on why should I avoid plagiarism, and then we'll practice paraphrasing afterwards. Okay. So some of the consequences that we want to talk about, right? So failing grades, definitely a common one. Professors decide their own policies. It could be a lowered grade for the assignment, a 0 for the assignment. It could be a failing grade for the class. It could be repeating the assignment. And, nobody wants that, right? That's going to slow you down as you're trying to progress towards your degree. Lower credibility, right? So, we just want to stay on the good side of things. We don't want our professor to be like giving us oh, I did it once, it was just a mistake, but now they're just watching me so closely all the time. I think they told the other professor. So we want to try and stay on the good side of things. Getting our assignments done on time so we don't get into these situations where we're doing things at the last minute and being a little bit careless. And then expulsion, right? Being expelled. So this is kind of on the extreme end. I think in most situations, instructors are going to deal with it within the context of the class, but they always do have the option to file like a student code of conduct report. And I think that's kind of encouraged also, because when you are reported to student code of conduct, right, then there's usually going to be what they call a sanction. And so here at UH West Oahu, I know the first sanction is to go through an educational workshop such as this. And so, nobody's going to get expelled right away. I guess I shouldn't say that. I don't know every single school's policy, but I think most times the first sanction is going to be, like a warning or an educational piece. Then I think that, then hopefully, I think in most people's cases, right, they do that and then they're back on track. They're like, oh, now I know what I need to do. I know my resources to consult in order to make sure that I'm not plagiarizing, and then they're fine. If it's happening again, I think there's probably a second sanction or a second warning, maybe a second something that happens. And then perhaps after that, that might be where expulsion could come up. And even after you graduate, right, if the school finds that you plagiarize, they could technically take your degree away. So we want to, cross our T's and dot our I's and stay on the good side. So let's go into how do I avoid plagiarism. So the first thing is providing full and clear acknowledgement, right? So providing our citation anywhere you're using specific facts or ideas that are not your own, and anywhere you're using someone else's words, being very clear so that readers can tell, what is your idea? What is an idea from a source? What is your words? What are the words from a source? And so this includes using the quotation marks to indicate when you're using someone else's words, including the author and the page number, where you found the information, being careful with your quotation marks, and then putting information into your own words. And, I know that like all the details of citation can be a lot, right? But I think as long as we show that we make some effort to show this is, this is me, this is someone else, then you're definitely on the right track. So let's look at some examples. Let's see, who am I on? Tiana, can you read this one for us? This is a passage from a book or a journal.
A new method for medical students to learn how to perform an effective home visit was developed using an instructional video game. It was expected that students would learn the principles of a home visit using a video game while identifying the usefulness of video gaming edutainment in geriatrics education. The results demonstrated that students effectively improved their knowledge about the principles of a home visit. The fact that there is significant improvement not only in their pre- and post-test results, but also in their scores while playing the game indicates that students increase their level of learning and engagement.
Okay, so this is the passage that the student found in a book or a journal or something, right? Talking about the use of video games in training medical students. And we're gonna look at two examples, a positive example of a quote and a positive example as of a paraphrase. So Clarice, can I have you read this one?
Ryan's study found that video games were effective in getting nursing students familiarized with home visits, which was supported by significant improvement in their pre and post-test results.
Okay, so in this example, right, we have our author's name, our year, our page number, so showing where that information is coming from, and we have our quote, our quotation marks to show where we're using Ryan's exact words, and then a little bit of summary as well up here, summary or paraphrase, right? Ryan's study found that video games were effective in getting nursing students familiarized with home visits, which was supported by significant improvement in their pre and post-test results. Okay, and then in this one, we have another example of a paraphrase. Rosen, can you read this one?
Ryan's study found that video games were effective in getting nursing students familiarized with home visits.
Okay, thank you. So again, right, our name, author's name, year, no need page number on this one because it doesn't have a direct quote. And we're using APA in this example. And the writer or the student has put the information into their own words. Okay, so I think we're getting into our activity now. So this activity is called the accidental plagiarist. And we're gonna be using this handout. So let me give you folks the link. Sorry, this is our link right here. Let me throw it in the chat. I think I'm gonna kind of show things on the screen as well, but if you want to, if it's easier for you to take a look at it through the handout, then you will have that. And we'll all be jumping into that handout in a second. Okay. So so what we're gonna do in this activity, we're gonna read through a passage from a website. We're gonna read through the student's attempted paraphrase, and then we're gonna identify where the student is plagiarizing the website. Okay. So let's see, Jamie, can I have you read this this passage from this I think it's National Wildlife Federation website for us?
Not all black bears are black, some. All brown or
Sorry, that's supposed to be a longer
sorry.
dash, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Not all black bears are black. Some are brown or a rusty cinnamon color. There are also black bears with light blue, gray fur found in southeastern Alaska, known as glacier bears. Some bears in the island archipelago in southern British Columbia even have white fur and are known as spirit bears by some indigenous cultures of the region from whom these bears have cultural significance.
Okay, and then next we're gonna look at Sam, our pretend student, Sam's attempted paraphrase. Hilda, can you read this one for us?
Black bears aren't always black. Some are brown or or rusty cinnamon color. In southern Alaska, there is also black bears with light blue-gray. Bears classified as glacier bear in southern British Columbia island chains. Some bears even have white fur and known as spirit bears by some indigenous culture of the region for whom these bears have cultural significance.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna show the handout now because I think it'll be easier for us to look at there, right? So this is our passage from the website that Jamie read for us. And then this is Sam's version, which Hilda read for us. So let's identify, I think there's 3 areas in here where Sam is plagiarizing our website. Can we identify what those 3 areas might be? Okay, yep. So somebody messaged me, it's word for word in some parts. So let's identify where are those parts where it's kind of word for word. Light blue gray hair classified as glacier bears. Okay. Light blue gray hair. Okay, yup. Okay, here's one. Okay, where else? Rusty cinnamon color, very good. Some are brown rusty, yup. Okay, awesome. Okay. Oh, somebody else sent me a chat. Okay, hold on. Some indigenous cultures. Okay, so this part is okay because it's in the quotation marks. Okay. Where else do we have, right? So it's in the quotation marks, right? So because Sam has these quotation marks here, right? This whole part is in quotation marks. They are telling us that this is the exact words from the website. Okay, so that one's cool. Where else do we have Sam using the you guys are so good. Oh, okay, here. Somebody messaged me. In southern British Columbia's island chain. Yeah, this one's tricky, yeah. Okay, so I think maybe we can see. Is there another way we can say this, right? And I think over here too, in southeastern Alaska, there are also black bears. Let's see if we can reword. Let's see if we can see another way to reword this one too. Okay. Okay, so this is what we're gonna try. So I'm gonna have each group, so I'm gonna put you folks in pairs in the breakout rooms. And you can see I have the navigation over here, right? So if you find yourself in room 1, right? You'll see it at the top of your screen. It'll say room 1, then you're gonna be group 1. If you find yourself in room 2, you're gonna be group 2, and so on. Okay. And then in your groups in pairs, right? I want you to do these 2 things over here. So highlight the areas where they're plagiarizing the National Wildlife Federation. You can copy from this one, or if there's other areas you find, you can do that. And then number 2, you folks are gonna pretend you're Sam, and you're gonna revise their passage so that it is no longer is plagiarizing. Okay, you guys are gonna be all anonymous, I think. So we'll try our best. Okay, and we'll come back in maybe 5 to 10 minutes. Let's try. Okay, let me send you folks to rooms. You guys have questions before I send you folks to the rooms? Okay, I'm gonna send you folks to the rooms. Oh, you can write it. You can either maybe if you want to write it underneath here, that will be helpful. Yeah, you can just whichever group you're in, you can just hop to the other one. Okay, I'm gonna put you guys to your rooms and I'll come visit you guys and check on you folks. Okay, so yeah, I know some of the groups had technical difficulties, so I think we'll we have a couple examples that we can take a look at in this document, and then the groups who were not able to edit in the document, if you want to throw what you did in the chat, feel free to do that. Otherwise, we would just talk about the examples we have, and then I have a couple of examples I can show in the slide as well. And I see it is 12:55, so we are gonna move quickly. So from group 2, we have in southeastern Alaska and southern British Columbia's island chain, there are different colors of bears. Glacier bears are defined as black bears with light blue-gray hair, while spirit bears are known to have white fur and are culturally significant. So yeah, we got some nice, I'm like double checking it against our original up here. This is definitely an improvement over Sam's version. I like the use of the quotation marks here to show we're using the exact wording. Let's see. Maybe we might want to see if there's another way we could say this, but I think that's in a gray area. So that's a great effort. And then group 4, I don't know if you guys finished, but I saw a start here. So, okay, so group 4 has bears can be in different colors depending on where they're from. Glacier bears are defined as black bears with light gray hair. So, yep, again, we're on the right track, right? So I think this first sentence for sure is a good, it's a good version of, putting it to into your own words. We do want to make sure, right, when we're using the quotation marks, that's telling readers that these are the exact words that was in our source. So we would want to be very careful. It looks like we're missing the blue, right? The light blue, we're missing the word blue in there, and you're putting your citation. Very good. I know we got like super rushed. So that's fine. I know you guys didn't have time to finish. That's fine. Let me, so another good tip that I like to give for paraphrasing is to read the original, right? To read it until you understand it. I think this is a pretty simple one, but if there are words that you don't understand, writing in the definitions on the side. And I think it's good to like actually physically look away from the original source when you're paraphrasing, right? Because if we're looking right at it, the words are right there. It's so easy to just use those words. But if we look away and then we try to write it from memory, like what was the meaning? That's a good way to get away from the original language. And then I found that some students have really good memories. So you definitely want to go back and make sure you haven't plagiarized accidentally just because your memory is so good. Okay, let me give, so this is, I have a couple of examples to share. So according to the National Wildlife Federation, quote, not all black bears are black, end quote, we have our citation. They can actually come in different colors, including black, brown, gray, or white. So this one uses a mix of direct quote and paraphrase. And another possible example, according to the National Wildlife Federation, black bears can actually come in different colors, including black, brown, gray, or white. The white ones have special significance among some indigenous people in British Columbia. So, last thing, if you find yourself in that situation and you still have questions, we always recommend working with the tutors on your campus or working with a classmate and giving each other feedback. There are also some great resources online, such as plagiarism.org and smallseotools.com/plagiarism checker. I think this last one, you might have to like make an account, which I know some folks are not a big fan of. They might try to sell you a paid version, which I don't be doing that. If you are not wanting to make an account, always using the tutoring sources on your campus or working with your classmates is a great option. Oh my gosh, that took way longer than I thought. When I thought it was gonna take, I'm gonna say thank you, and I can stick around for a bit if folks have questions.